What's up? I'm Teddy Coyle. We're here doing a podcast.
It's Connor here. Mr. Hall, these
Alright, let's get started.
Story of Joseph. Teddy, can you tell me a little bit about the story of Joseph in his childhood?
Sure. Not Joseph, Jesus' father Joseph. He was the favorite son of Jacob, son of Isaac, son of Abraham, so his lineage goes all the way back to Abraham. He was known for wearing like a coat of many colors. He's often seen like pictured in it. And he has these like dreams that seem to predict the future, like the dream of all his brothers bowing to him, which his father made come to life. His brothers quickly became sick of the favoritism.
What do you mean? How were his brothers sick of it? What did they do?
Well, they did what any normal brothers would do, and they sold him to slavery in Egypt. There's a quote from Genesis book, chapter 37, verse 26-27, and it's a direct quote saying, Judah said to his brothers, "What will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood." And his brothers agreed.
Whoa, how did they cover up this disappearance of the favorite son of Jacob?
They told the father of Jacob that Joseph had been killed by a wild animal. He believed it too.
What was Jacob's life like when he became a slave in Egypt?
Well, despite the attempt of his brothers to make Jacob miserable or dead, he quickly rose to power in Egypt because of the ability I mentioned, where he could interpret dreams. Another quote from Genesis chapter 41, verse 41. So Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I hereby put you in charge of the whole land of Egypt."
What is that supposed to mean, interpreting dreams? Are you trying to say that he was able to predict the future or something?
Sort of. For example, one of Pharaoh's dreams, Joseph was able to predict 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine in Egypt. Another quote from the same chapter in Genesis, verse 26-27. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good heads of grain are 7 years. It is one and the same dream. 7 lean and ugly cows that came up afterward are 7 years. So are the 7 worthless heads of grain, scorched by the east wind. There are 7 years of famine.
Why was it such a big deal that he interpreted this? Did it come true? What happened?
Yeah, it came true. Joseph was able to save Egypt from the deadly famine by coming up with the idea to save the excess food in storage during the 7 years of plenty. They kind of made it like beef jerky, where it wouldn't go bad after a while.
I got it.
Yeah.
Do Joseph's brothers and father ever come back into the story? Like, what happens?
Yes, they do actually. They were sent looking for food, sent by his father in Genesis chapter 42, verse 2. He continued, "I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us, so that we may live and not die."
Okay, that makes more sense. Is that what brings them there?
Yeah, it is.
But I thought that was the famine only hit Egypt.
No. The famine surrounded all the surrounding countries as well. So Joseph's brother and father had to travel to Egypt in search of food. By this point, though, they expected Joseph to be long dead.
Do they recognize Joseph when they get there?
They don't. They don't recognize Joseph, but he recognizes them, and he actually sends them back to their home.
Yeah, it makes sense that they didn't really recognize him after that long. Wait. He sent them home for good?
No. He just wanted them to get the new favorite son, Benjamin, who's now the youngest. Genesis chapter 42, verse 16. "And this is how you will be tested. As surely as the Pharaoh lives, you will not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here." And then he welcomed all of them into their families in Egypt after revealing his identity.
What is your overall takeaway on this story?
I think the story is a great story of forgiveness, with Joseph forgiving his brothers and bringing them into Egypt. I also think there's something to be said about the perseverance of Joseph, where he was sent to Egypt to become a slave. He rose to power, and like I said earlier, was able to find it in his heart to bring back his brothers and his father and their wives into Egypt.
Okay, that's awesome, Teddy. So you want to tell me your favorite part about the story?
Oh man, I'd say my favorite part has to be when his brothers throw him down a well and he actually climbs back out of it, and when he goes to find them, that's when they see him, that he's still alive, and that's when they decide to sell him into slavery. I thought that was really interesting because he really was confused. He had no idea what was going on. He thought that he was going to find them. He thought everything was normal, and all of a sudden they told him he was going to Egypt slavery. Obviously, it's not a very good thing, but it's definitely a turn in the story.
Yeah, well, I think my favorite part of the story was the way that they tried to cover up the death of their brother with the animals. I think that was pretty cool.
I thought it was pretty weird that he was that the father actually believed it too.
Yeah.
I thought he'd be a little more upset with the loss of his favorite youngest son.
All right, tell you what, it was
Anyway.
great learning with you, man. All right, here we go.